There was a young woman named Zainab who lived in a world obsessed with appearances, where people swiped left or right on potential partners based on photographs, where beauty was measured by filters and edited images, where everyone had a mental checklist of physical attributes they believed their future spouse must possess. Zainab was 26 years old, worked as a graphic designer, and like many young people she had spent years imagining what her future husband would look like. In her mind she had constructed a detailed image. He would be tall, at least 6 feet, with dark hair and light eyes, an athletic build from regular gym sessions, perfect teeth that gleamed when he smiled, and a strong jawline that belonged on magazine covers. She had even created a mood board on her phone with pictures of actors and models who resembled her ideal type. Her friends would laugh as she showed them, saying she had very specific taste, and Zainab would reply that she knew exactly what she wanted and wouldn't settle for less. But what Zainab didn't understand, what no one had taught her in her years of scrolling through social media and watching romantic movies, was that she was looking at the wrong picture entirely. The image she had created in her mind had nothing to do with what her future partner actually looked like in the eyes of God, in the realm of what truly mattered. One evening, Zainab attended a wedding of a distant cousin. She went reluctantly, tired after a long week of work and not particularly interested in the festivities. As she sat at her table, half-heartedly eating the elaborate meal and checking her phone every few minutes, an elderly woman sat down beside her. The woman had wise eyes and a gentle smile, and she introduced herself as Aunt Jamila, a friend of the bride's grandmother. "You look bored, my dear," Aunt Jamila observed with amusement. Zainab smiled politely. "Just tired. It's been a long week." "Or perhaps," the elderly woman said knowingly, "you're tired of waiting for something you think you want." Zainab looked at her with surprise. "What do you mean?" Aunt Jamila gestured toward the bride and groom at the head table. "Every young woman at a wedding thinks about her own future marriage. I can see it in your eyes. You're wondering when your turn will come, whether your future husband is out there somewhere, what he looks like." Zainab felt exposed, as if this stranger had read her innermost thoughts. Is it that obvious? Only to someone who has lived long enough to see the same story repeat in every generation, Aunt Jamila said gently. "May I tell you something that might change how you see everything?" Zainab nodded, curious despite herself. "When I was your age, I had a picture in my mind of what my husband would look like. Handsome, tall, strong, with a commanding presence. I turned down several good men because they didn't match this picture I had created. Then one day my mother sat me down and told me something that changed my life. She said, 'My daughter, you are looking at the wrong image. Let me tell you what your future partner really looks like.'" Zainab leaned forward, fully engaged now. Aunt Jamila continued, "She told me that my future partner's real appearance wasn't about height or hair color or facial features. She said, 'Your future partner looks like someone whose eyes lower when temptation passes by, out of respect for you and fear of God. He looks like someone whose tongue speaks words of kindness even when he's angry, because he has trained himself in patience. He looks like someone whose hands tremble when he raises them in prayer for your well-being, because his love for you is connected to his love for God. He looks like someone whose heart breaks when you cry and celebrates when you succeed, because your joy and pain have become his own." Zainab felt tears forming in her eyes as the old woman spoke. "Your future partner looks like someone who wakes in the night to pray while you sleep, asking God to make him worthy of the trust you've placed in him. He looks like someone who works with dignity and honesty even when no one is watching, because he knows that the provision he brings home must be halal to receive God's blessing. He looks like someone who honors his parents and maintains family ties, because this shows you how he will treat you when you become his family." Aunt Jamila paused, letting her words sink in before continuing. He looks like someone who admits when he's wrong and seeks forgiveness, because pride is the enemy of a successful marriage. He looks like someone who sees your imperfections and chooses to focus on your strengths, just as he hopes you'll do for him. He looks like someone who understands that marriage is not about possession but partnership, not about control but mutual respect, not about perfection but about growing together toward God. Zainab wiped her eyes, feeling something shift deep in her chest. But how do you see these things? How do you know what someone's heart looks like? You observe their character over time, Aunt Jamila said. You watch how they treat people who can do nothing for them, the waiters, the cleaners, the elderly, the poor. You listen to how they speak about others when those people aren't present. You notice whether their actions align with their words. You see if their relationship with God is real or just for show. These observations will show you their true appearance, the one that matters. That night, Zainab couldn't sleep. She lay in bed thinking about Aunt Jamila's words, and for the first time she felt ashamed of her mood board of perfect faces, her mental checklist of physical requirements. She had been preparing to choose a husband the way someone might choose a car based on external appearance and impressive features, without understanding that she was looking at the wrong catalog entirely. She got out of bed, performed ablution, and prayed 2 units of prayer, asking God to forgive her shallow thinking and to guide her toward understanding what truly mattered in a life partner. As she sat on her prayer mat afterward, she made a new list, but this time it was different. She wrote, "My future partner looks like someone who fears God more than he fears people's opinions. He looks like someone who is honest, even when lying would be easier. He looks like someone who controls his anger and responds to harshness with gentleness. He looks like someone who is generous with his time, his money, and his forgiveness. He looks like someone who sees marriage as an act of worship, a way to complete half his faith. He looks like someone who will lead our family toward paradise, not toward worldly success alone." The next day, Zainab deleted her mood board and decided to approach the search for a spouse with completely new eyes. She told her family that she was ready for marriage, but that her criteria had changed. Her mother was surprised when Zainab said she didn't care much about height, income, or appearance, but cared deeply about character, faith, and values. "Are you feeling well?" her mother asked, half joking. "Last month you showed me pictures of actors and said your husband must look like them." Zainab smiled. "I was looking at the wrong picture, Mama. I want someone whose character looks beautiful to God, even if his face is ordinary to the world." Her mother studied her daughter's face and saw genuine maturity there. "I'm proud of you, my daughter. You've understood something many people never learn." Several months passed. Zainab met a few potential suitors through family connections, and she approached each meeting with her new understanding. She asked different questions now, not about careers and possessions, but about faith and character and life philosophy. She watched how they spoke about their mothers, how they treated waiters at the coffee shop, whether their eyes remained respectful or wandered inappropriately. Then she met Ibrahim. He was not what she would have chosen from her old mood board. He was of average height, slightly overweight, with glasses and thinning hair at only 30 years old. Her old self would have dismissed him immediately. But when she met him properly, with family present as Islamic etiquette required, she observed something different. She noticed how his eyes immediately lowered respectfully when he greeted her, how he spoke to her with honor and dignity, never with flattery or inappropriate familiarity. When the waiter brought tea and made a mistake with the order, Ibrahim thanked him kindly and said it was no problem at all. When Zainab's younger brother interrupted their conversation with a question about his homework, Ibrahim took time to help him patiently, showing genuine interest in a child's concerns. During their conversation, Ibrahim spoke about his work as an accountant, but he spent more time talking about the Islamic finance principles he tried to uphold, even when it meant losing clients who wanted him to bend the rules. He spoke about his parents with such warmth and respect that Zainab could see the love in his eyes. He mentioned that he woke every night for tahajjud prayer, not with pride but with humility, saying he needed that time to ask God for guidance and strength. "What are you looking for in a wife?" Zainab asked him directly. Ibrahim thought carefully before answering. "I'm looking for someone who will help me get to paradise and whom I can help get to paradise. Someone who sees marriage as a partnership in faith, where we remind each other of God when we forget, forgive each other when we fail, and celebrate each other when we succeed. Someone whose presence in my life makes me a better Muslim, and whose life I can hopefully make better through my presence." Zainab felt her heart recognize something true in his words. This was what her future partner looked like, not the features of his face, but the features of his character. Over the following weeks, as they continued to meet in proper settings with family present, Zainab discovered more about what Ibrahim truly looked like. He looked like someone who spent his Friday afternoons visiting sick people at the hospital, reading Quran to those who were suffering. He looked like someone who donated a portion of every paycheck to an orphanage and never mentioned it until his mother accidentally revealed it. He looked like someone who had memorized the entire Quran and taught it to children at the mosque every weekend. He looked like someone who admitted when he was wrong and genuinely apologized without ego or defensiveness. When Ibrahim formally proposed marriage through her family, Zainab said yes without hesitation. Her friends were shocked when they saw his picture. "Really?" one friend said tactlessly. "I mean, he seems nice, but he's not your type at all. You always said you wanted someone tall and handsome." Zainab smiled peacefully. "I was looking at the wrong picture. I was judging by appearance, but God judges by the heart. Ibrahim's heart is beautiful, and that's what I'll be living with for the rest of my life, not his height or his hairline." Their engagement period was spent preparing for marriage in the right way, discussing expectations, learning about each other's families, studying together about Islamic marriage principles. Ibrahim treated Zainab with such respect and consideration that she fell in love not with his face, but with his soul, with the way he embodied the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. On their wedding night, after the celebrations had ended and they were finally alone, Ibrahim took Zainab's hands and said something she would never forget. "I know I'm not the handsome prince you might have imagined when you were a little girl. I know my appearance is ordinary at best, but I promise you that I will work every day to make my character beautiful in your eyes and in God's eyes. I will strive to be the kind of husband that the Prophet was: kind, generous, helpful, patient, and always striving to please God first and foremost." Zainab looked at her husband and realized something profound. In that moment, he looked like the most beautiful person she had ever seen. Not because his physical features had changed, but because she was finally seeing with the right eyes. The eyes of faith and understanding. The eyes that saw what God sees when he looks at his servants. Years passed and Zainab and Ibrahim built a life together that was far from perfect but deeply fulfilling. They had disagreements and difficult moments, as all couples do, but they had a foundation of shared values and mutual respect that helped them navigate every challenge. They were blessed with children, and Zainab watched Ibrahim transform into a father who embodied everything she had learned about what a partner truly looks like. She saw him look like someone who woke in the night when the baby cried, insisting that Zainab rest while he soothed the child. He looked like someone who came home exhausted from work, but still took time to play with his children and teach them about God. He looked like someone who never raised his voice in anger but spoke with patience even when frustrated. He looked like someone who admitted his mistakes to his children and asked for their forgiveness, teaching them that strength meant accountability, not perfection. One day, Zainab's younger cousin came to visit, a girl of 25 who was feeling pressured to get married but couldn't find anyone who matched her mental image of the perfect husband. She showed Zainab her phone, filled with pictures of models and actors. "This is what I want," the cousin said. "Why should I settle for less?" Zainab smiled and invited her cousin to stay for dinner. Throughout the evening, the cousin watched Ibrahim, how he helped serve food, how he cleaned up without being asked, how he listened to everyone's stories with genuine interest, how he led the family in prayer with a voice full of devotion, how he spoke to Zainab with respect and affection even after years of marriage. Later that evening, after Ibrahim had put the children to bed and gone for night prayer at the mosque, the cousin said quietly, "I see what you meant now. Your husband isn't what I would have picked from a photo, but watching him tonight, I saw something beautiful that no picture could capture." Zainab nodded. "This is exactly what your future partner looks like. Not the face in your imagination, but the character that reflects God's attributes: mercy, kindness, patience, and love. When you start looking for those qualities instead of physical features, you'll find what you're really searching for." The cousin deleted her photo collection that night and made dua, asking God to help her see with clear vision, to recognize a good person when she met one, to value character over appearance, to understand that true beauty is in the soul that strives toward God. This is the message that needs to reach every person searching for a spouse. Your future partner's true appearance has nothing to do with height, weight, facial features, or any physical attribute. Your future partner looks like someone whose character would make God proud, whose faith would inspire you to be better, whose presence in your life would bring you closer to paradise rather than further from it. They look like someone who prays when no one sees them, who gives charity without seeking recognition, who speaks truth even when it costs him, who treats others with kindness regardless of their status, who sees you as a trust from God to be honored and protected, who understands that marriage is not about personal happiness alone but about building something that pleases the Creator. This is what your future partner really looks like. And when you finally meet them, you might be surprised that they don't match the picture in your mind. But if you're looking with the right eyes, you'll recognize them by the light of faith in their actions, the beauty of God's attributes reflected in their character, and the peace you feel knowing that this person will walk beside you on the path toward eternal success.